I want to do this part of my time here as an exercise that I often do in a workshop that I call estimates or no estimates. Is anybody familiar with this idea of no estimates? Have you ever heard of it? Okay. So not a lot of you have heard of it. We're going to do just a little bit of a workshop-y thing where we'll gather some information and talk about it. I usually go through some slides while I'm doing this, but with the amount of time we have, I think this is going to work better if we don't. I have a bunch of post-it notes here. Hopefully they're sticky enough trying to actually stay stuck to something. Let's see. Well, that one seems okay. We'll find out. What I'd like to do is have somebody help me get these distributed. Everybody just needs one or two because you really only need one. So if you want to pass them out somehow, what I want you to do is answer this question for me. Do I have a marker that I can use on this? Is there a marker that there might not be? I always have a pen somewhere. Well, here, let's use this one. I want to answer this question. Everybody write down in one word the essence of what an estimate is. One word. What do we mean when we say the word estimate? This is not a hard thing to do, except for managers. One word. What is an estimate? If you need two words, I'm okay with that. But managers seem to never be able to do this with less than 5 or 6 words, and they still feel uncomfortable. One word, the essence of what is an estimate. As soon as you have it, bring it on up or hand it to the end of your rows and pass them out. This should go pretty quick. And you should already have an idea in your mind, what is an estimate? I've worked in construction, and I was a contractor for a while, mostly doing signage. I've worked in a lot of fields, landscaping, and all our estimates are required. They don't always do what we want them to do. So let's start bringing them up. So maybe some people will help gathering them up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, this is wonderful. Thank you. I'm sure the Post-it Note Company appreciates this very much. Thank you. Thank you. And usually takes a minute or two. This is a relatively small group. I've done this with up to 300 people, which is about twice as many. And this gets everybody active and moving around. That's good too. Excellent. Any more? Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Excellent. A few more. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to start sticking these on here. This one says a guesstimate. This one says a guess. This one says cost. This one says time. This one says guess. This one says guess. This one says a rough plan. This one says best guess. Have you ever had a manager come to you and say, oh, listen, did you ever have a manager say, I'd like to have your worst guess? So I didn't mean to make fun of you, but best guess is what I often hear. A rough guess, approximate, cost, understanding indicator. I'm going to put this one over here in its own area. We'll see if we can gather some that are a little bit out. Another one is guess. Complexity. Have you ever had a manager come up and say, I would like your complexities by this afternoon? So is that an estimate? I think I'm going to put that over here. A guess. A guess. A guess. I could guess that that's what we're going to have. A guess. Because I think usually developers kind of a wishful guess. For Christmas, I'd like that. An approximation. So I'm going to put that one over here. A guess. An approximation. Were you sitting next to each other to do this? Approximation. Guessing. Oh my goodness, a guess. A guess. I should have plugged in my slides. I might still do it because I do have some slides that show what I normally get out of this thing. Not knowing. We'll figure that out later. Rough. Some does mean, I think that means a rough. Who wrote that? Does that mean a rough guess? Is that sort of what it is? Because I can put it, I can arrange these any way we want. A guess. I'm just doing what's called an affinity grouping. You know what I mean by that? You group the things by their relation to each other. Guessing. A plan. We have a place for plans. Have we run out of time yet? Are we still doing okay? A prediction. So this is the first time we got this. What is a prediction? It's a guess. It's just a better, we say prediction because we think. So we could say, I'm going to kind of move this over here and not say it's a guess because we've already got so many guesses, we're running out of room. Guess. Oh my goodness. Work amount. So I'll put that over there. You can see how I'm doing this now. It's a certainty. Oh, somebody was making a joke, right? I hope. So if estimates were facts, we wouldn't call them estimates. It's a best guess. So they put a hyphen in there to get it under the one-word deal. A visualized plan. I like it. Guessing. Pretty soon this whole thing's just going to fall over in this direction, I think. An educated guess. Because we want to say, well, we did our best. We looked at the data. It's an effort. It's a guess. I think I'm going to go through all these. We have some good information here. It's an input. What's an input to?
Yes.
What's that? What is an input to?
Business case.
So it's an input into the planning process. So we'll put that so you can see we're kind of getting a flow here. I guess. I'm going to do this a little faster if I can. A size. This is pretty cool. Now I'm going to tell you, I've done this about 300 times. It's gotten to the point where I know what you're going to say. Oh, here's a good one. A forecast, not accurate, a good guess. I'll put this under guess. It's an idea. Is it an idea about how long it would take to do something? It's, can you maybe translate that for me? Yeah, I hope it's not a dirty word. An informed guess. An informed guess. But that's a kind of a guess. We're qualifying guess. It's a guess. It's a guess. Oh, man. When I do this in a company, this starts revealing something that some people just don't want to hear. It's a measurement. So let me put, if you were trying to determine the number of salmon in your fishery, and you're counting the number of salmon that went by a particular place every year, and by that you would try to determine and make an estimate as to how many fish are in your fishery so you can know how to manage them, then you are doing a measurement. But that's not the estimate itself. The measurement is what we're doing to come up with an estimate. So I think I'm going to put it there. I'm not sure where that goes. It's time. We already have some of those. It's qualified guessing. Do you want to go through the rest of our lives doing this? Let me see. Guess. Oh, here's one. It's a, I'm not sure if that's saying an opinionated guess or something like that. I'm sorry if I'm getting some of these wrong. Another one that says time. It's a guess. Oh my goodness. Are we going to get anything other than these, do you think? It's an idea? Oh, it's an ideal time. It's an ideal. So that's like a guess. So that's good. It's time. It's time. It's a guess. Are you starting to feel pretty depressed? It's a guess. How much of our company's future are we risking on these guesses? It's complexity. It's a size. It's a guess. Sorry, I'm getting confused now. It's a guess. It's a forecast. What would you call a forecast? It's a guess. A forecast is usually, there's an 80% chance of it raining today. That's kind of a guess. Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. It's work. It's work to do them, or it's an estimate about work. It's a guess. It's a prediction. We've already decided that. Oh my goodness. I think we've gone enough. Guess. That's all I'm going to do. So what's that? It's a target. So we're going to put this over here. That actually I'm going to put down here. And let's see, plant. It's a certainty. It's a plant. You know, I'm going to look for one that I often want to get. Guess. Oh, geez. It's like Christmas now. The wrappers are all over the place. Size. It's a guess. I'm going to get to the point of this now. It's an approximation. It's a plan. Is an estimate a plan? What do you think? It's something we might use to try and make a plan, right? It's a guess. It's guessing. It's a guess. It's a hope. I should put that way up there. It's time. It's like, yeah, I hope to get a trade for Christmas, you know, kind of thing. It's a time. It's a workload. I think we're going to put that over in the planning thing. I think we've gotten through it all. It's a belief. So that's kind of like the hope too. It's a guess and it's time. This is how I usually see it. I often see it. An estimate, we can make a sentence out of this. An estimate is a guess. It's sort of an approximation about the cost or the time or the size or the complexity of something that we'll use as input into the planning we're going to do so that we can make a target and blame somebody if they didn't make a target. And then we got these little ones down here. Does that make sense, what I just said? Is that how you think about it? It's a guess that we're going to use to eventually have input into our planning. It's a guess specifically about some work and what that work may cost or how complex it is or how. Was this helpful? We're going to plan and we're going to determine who needs to get done by when. That's what a plan is, based on a bunch of guesses. I worked at a place for 6 years, and I got most of my experience of working within an organization that you just couldn't make things better, and I took that as being my chance to try everything I could to make things better. And, oh, we have a question.
Could we say that it's an estimate on how much the scope will contain?
We could say scope, but over here it'd be a guess about our scope. And so usually when we say scope, we mean these are the things we want to do, and then we're going to make estimates. So really doing estimates well, which probably can't actually be done, but it would require a certain amount of work that we're not usually willing to do. So I'm going to ask maybe, so first of all, I want to tell this story. I was working at this place, and the manager would come to me. I was a coder, I was a programmer, and asked me for my estimates. And here's the six. He divided it up like amongst all the developers. Everybody got like 8 or 10 or whatever things to estimate so that he could use it to make the plan. And he said, Woody, I need your estimates. And I said, okay. And I went and read the requirements. And guess what? From those requirements, could I make an estimate? What would have been missing? Why can't I make an estimate based on what they just handed me usually? Anybody want to share? Yeah.
You haven't done it.
What's that?
You haven't done it.
Well, you haven't done it yet. That would be like Bob Martin would say, the only honest estimate is I don't know, and the only time we really know how long something will take is when we've done it. But normally, let's try it.
There is always one or more unknowns.
There's so many unknowns. So we have to drive out the unknowns. And as I say, I can hardly tell what this is. Can I talk to the person who wrote this? Or can I get more information? Okay, so that's exactly right. So no, you just got to look at this. And then he said, Anders gets his. Greg gets his estimates to me. Kirky gets her estimates to me. You have to get your estimates to me. So I went and talked to Anders and Greg and Kirky. Anders, who was a brilliant programmer, said, I don't waste any time with it at all. I just write down a bunch of numbers in the box and give it to them. Greg was much more conscientious than that. And he said, I make up a bunch of small numbers because he seems to like small numbers. This is a true story. And I still know Greg to this day. I have lunch with him a couple, 3 times a year, and we talk about those old days and where he's working now, how much worse it is than it was there. So, and then I went to Kirti, and Kirti was the most conscientious of all. She says, I'll read the document, and then I make up a number. So I went to my desk, and I just made up a bunch of numbers, really as fast as I could. I didn't go to the boss and say, this is what they told me. I didn't want to get them in trouble. I handed to him, I said, here's the estimates. He goes, oh, good. And I said, I just made up a bunch of numbers. What do you think he said? What's that?
So do I.
What did he say?
So do I.
No, he said, thank you. He said, thank you. And that told me an important thing. Because you know what he did with those numbers? He put them into his scheduling program, and now he knew when things would get done. What's wrong with that? What is wrong with that? A bunch of guesses to make important decisions. Yes? Go ahead. I'm just rambling on.
I'd like to challenge a little bit about no estimates.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't like estimates, and I don't like the way they're being used. But I think there's value in estimates as a way to surface cognitive differences and different understandings of the problem.
Yes. So the estimating process, the estimates themselves aren't doing that. It's the estimating process. So so the basic idea is we can use the estimating process to drive out unknowns. First of all, it won't drive out unknowns. And what happens if, so let's say we're using the story point estimating system, which will really do what a lot of people want, to make a plan from it. They're trying to decide what are we going to do in the next 2 weeks, or really they're trying to decide what can we bring in to try to do in the next 2 weeks. The thing is that we can have those conversations without ever having an estimate. And the reverse is, what if everybody holds up a 3 and do we decide, oh, then we all have the same understanding, we don't need to talk about it. But your idea of a 3 is very different than my idea of a 3.
So that's why everyone gets to say, how do you interpret the problem and how you can solve it? What does a 3 represent for you? And then you get the conversation started.
So I would say this is saying we don't need the number at all. Yeah. Let's just have that conversation. Yeah. And if we can't have it without doing the estimates, then let's have a conversation about that. So let's think of a couple things here. So yes, I'm not saying we shouldn't do estimates necessarily. I'm saying we should make sure that our estimates are actually bringing us value, instead of pretending that we know they're bringing us value. How do we prove that all these guesses about the size or the time or the cost of something is actually allowing us to make a good plan? This is the trick. This is why I brought this up in the first place. As a matter of fact, the first time I talked about this at a group, it was about 30 people at a group meeting, and I had made a list. We had had big success on a project, and it kind of got out to the community that these people did something really cool, and so they asked me to talk about it. Well, what did we do to make this happen? And so because I love to learn and be with people, I put together the list of the actual actions we took, and then I went to the meeting to do this. And in my talk, I had a list of 5 things that we were suspecting wasn't giving us value, and we did a value stream map of them, and we eliminated them. And I listed those 5 things, and the third thing was estimates. And so some of the audience, as soon as because you know how on my slides I bring that one line at a time sometimes, the third one comes out, estimates. The rest of them, they were accepting it. The estimates come out, and somebody in the audience says, wait a second, we need estimates. And I took the bait and said, well, why do we need estimates? And they told me. And I said, okay, that's interesting. And then someone else over here staring at it. They said, no, that's not right. I thought, okay, he's going to defend me. No. He said, that's not why we need estimates. This is why we need estimates. And he went on for about 5 minutes. I finally stopped him. And I said, yeah, okay, but let me go on. And then somebody else put it there.